Now, many Londoners have been deeply affected by the expansion of London Mayor Sadiq Khan's ultra-low emission zone. The car tax is affecting lives and livelihoods, especially if you're elderly and especially if you live in the outer boroughs. One of those to have been campaigning against the ULEZ is Nick Arlett. Early this year, he and his fellow campaigners were raising awareness about this issue peacefully when they were arrested by dozens and dozens of police. And last week, the Tooting Four, as they're now known, were convicted of harassing the mayor. Now, how can that be right? Well, to tell us about what's happened to him, I'm very pleased to be joined now by Nick Arlett himself. Welcome to The Sceptic, Nick.
Morning.
Okay, so let's go back and sort of talk about how you got involved in this in the first place. So when did you first hear about the ULEZ and what was your reaction to it?
Honestly, I was horrified. The first time I heard about it, I mean, you didn't have to be sort of Nostradamus to predict just, the impact this was going to have on so many people, including myself. Obviously, originally, being the normal sort of selfish person, I thought about how it would affect me. Personally, I basically I don't walk a great deal, and from where I live to my nearest bus stop is it's around half a mile walk that I cannot do. So effectively, without my own transport, I'm stuck. I'm isolated in my own house.
Right, and just tell us a bit more about yourself generally. I mean, where are you at in life? What do you do?
I do nothing anymore. I'm well retired. I'm 73 now, so I've been retired for a few years. I've always been reasonably politically sort of not motivated, but aware of what was going on, but never protested before. I just thought, I could see how it was going to impact me, and I spoke to many other people, older people, how it was going to impact them. I mean, I have, like many others, regular doctor's appointments, hospital appointments, virtually impossible to get to. Unless you're going to pay for a cab, which is not a viable thing for me financially, so I don't do that. And in fact, I'd say some of the people that I spoke to, they were already in tears. I spoke to another woman that lived around the corner. I never spoke to her before, but we just got chatting about it. And she burst into tears. I hadn't known her for 5 minutes, and she was crying her eyes out because she could see that her family had moved out of London, and they weren't in a position to see her anymore. She couldn't now see them. This was across the board.
Right, okay. And so the campaign has continued until before the mayoral election earlier this year. And so you're hosting these awareness days. Now, just tell us a bit about those.
Okay, yeah, we had loads of them. We done a lot in town. We done a few at Trafalgar Square. One where we actually got involved with Alan Millar and the Together Declaration. So we had a proper stage, a proper platform up there. But generally, they were organised, as in we never got permission. I'm never going to say that we did, because I had actually tried to get permission at one time, and I got such a runaround by the police and Westminster Council. So they were sort of ad hoc things. We'd have just, we'd put stuff on Facebook and people would turn up. That's about as organised as it was. But we got good numbers. The demographics of the people that came were normally not many. There were people older than me, but most people, I'd say they were sort of 50 plus. Most have never been out before. Just absolutely incensed that they were going to be stuck in their homes, and they weren't going to be seeing relatives. They weren't going to be making hospital or doctor appointments. So we got some good numbers. We had Trafalgar Square, Marble Arch, outside Downing Street, in Parliament Square. But then we done a lot of little local ones, which included Tooting before the last one there. But we'd also had two there as well. We'd had one at the end of the road where we believe Sadiq Khan lives, because we've never actually had that confirmed. We've never known for sure exactly what house he lives in or what road, but we're pretty sure that's the road he lives in. At the bottom of one end is Tooting Common. We actually had, we called it a hunger strike, but apparently I've been corrected over that because it was only 2 days, so it's a farce. So we didn't eat for 2 days. But we sat down on the common. There's a lovely little family affair, really. Sort of like we're joking, people, I'm sure you're aware, people dressing up as dinosaurs and stuff like that. I never quite got that bit, but people enjoyed doing it, so we did it. So I'd say it was a fun atmosphere.
So, I mean, it seems like you were making every effort to stay within the law there. But I suppose the question that, that has got you into trouble here is, why were you protesting somewhat near Sadiq Khan's house? I mean, what was the decision making there?
We wanted a busy junction that was as close as we could get without actually going to his house, because we never, ever, ever intended to go to his house. Now, I read reports that say we were 100 metres away from his house. In fact, it's 312 metres, to be precise, because someone's been down there and measured for it. We made this very, very, very clear that we never block roads, we don't do anything like that, and we certainly don't harass people. So this was the closest, busiest junction to get drivers interested as they went by, to be hand out leaflets and that.
Right. Okay, so tell us a bit about the protest. And I mean, were you blocking the road? What were you doing?
No. Again, we'd never done it before. Right? So why would we start it now? And we turned up. We were there quite early. A lot of us, say it was scheduled. It had been highly publicised. So the police knew we were going to be there between 12 and 3 o'clock. That was a normal thing, 3 hours. I think we might have done 4 hours somewhere, but normally it was 3 hours. So they were aware we were going to be there. We turned up quite early, and we started putting up a couple of gazebos and putting banners around, and a couple of local bobbies turned up. Okay, there's 3 or 4 of them. Again, absolutely no problem. In fact, laughing and joking, it was a little windy, and the gazebo sort of started shifting a little bit across the pavement. And one of these, I mean, he held it while I put wide ties around it. Say, I can't even tell you how amicable the police were that day. No problem whatsoever. But then we had people sort of like a little bit later arrivals turning up and saying there was a huge amount of police in back roads. They'd seen rows of motorbikes, loads of vans, rows of cars. Anyway, they started arriving, absolutely overwhelming numbers. They were going round, people said we had to clear up. I said, well, why? We're not doing anything. We're not going to be here. This was approaching, I think it was about 1:20 when everything sort of kicked off. But we're not going to be here. We're up 3 o'clock, we're gone. Can we not just stay? No, you've got to go. Then one officer said to me, well, why don't you go to City Hall? I said, well, we don't want to go to City Hall. We're here because this is where the general public are. Besides, there's no one there on a Saturday anyway in City Hall. It's a waste of time. And I thought, well, who are they to decide where we can protest? As I said, we were going near the house anyway. So it got very chaotic, I suppose. I was sort of wandering around filming and doing no more than that. As far as blocking the roads, there's no other way to put it. The police lied. It's as simple as that. They absolutely lied. We had two of the local police who absolutely confirmed what I've just told you, in as much as we were friendly, we were blocking the road, there weren't any problems. Then another 7 trailed in. The arresting officer, in my case, the first thing she said was WPC said, when I arrived, they were blocking the roads. Liar. Absolute liar. We had another one who turned out to be like the bronze commander, the man there that day, said that when he arrived, the gazebo was across the road. No, it wasn't. And we were blocking the roads. He also said that basically they implied that they were sort of proactive. They turned up because we were causing problems. They said that they'd had reports that we were blocking the road and we were abusing drivers and harassing children in cars going by. Well, I can't tell you how insulting that is for someone to say that. But it has to be pointed out that the police provided CCTV evidence of what had gone on that day. They had a huge list, because we saw the list that they could choose from. They obviously picked what they considered would be the most damning ones to show. And not one of those, not a single bit of footage, and there is a lot of it, besides our own footage, that shows that we blocked the road once. Never, ever. It didn't happen. That there were not children in cars going by being harassed. No, there is not one single victim's statement, not a single thing. There is absolutely no evidence whatsoever of what the police said happened that did happen. And their own video evidence contradicted what they said. Yet the judge ignored that, which I'm still, shocked to say the least over. I've got some footage. Say none of this was shown in court. None of this was shown in court whatsoever in our evidence. There is footage taken from, in fact, from a friend of mine who's standing on the wall outside the pub, so he's got quite a good shot down. And there's two officers discussing me, saying him in particular, with the stop the carnage on the thing. If he tries to cross the line again, nick him. Well, I've never tried to cross the line for a start, so that was one thing. And when they arrested me, I wasn't actually near the line. I was merely standing on the pavement, not far from the front of my car.
And so that's the police line, is it?
Yeah, they formed a line across the road. Right. In fact, they were the only things that were blocking the traffic going through, so they had to keep moving out of the way. If anybody's got any footage of us in the road, please show me, because you won't. Because there is no, it does not exist, because it never happened. Right. So my vehicle, again, evidenced by the video, was actually right. It was the closest car to the line that formed. And most of the banners and stuff I'd taken there anyway. And a lot of it would have been coming back to my car. So I'm just lingering around there. And again, evidenced by the videos, people are rolling up banners. We're clearing up. And the gazebo's being taken down. I'm standing there filming, and a officer come over to me on the pavement and said, can you come and have a word with my colleague? So, being the polite person I am, I just, he escorted me across the road, and this policewoman said, I'm arresting you under section 42, and what? And I thought, and this is the point, this is a little bit that I get very upset about, is because I read another lot of lies in a newspaper yesterday that said that we had got violent with the police. As he escorted me across, I'm filming, and this policewoman grabbed at my phone to snatch my phone out of my hand. It's mine. It's not hers. She had absolutely no right to touch my property. So I lifted my hand up in the air to keep the phone. And you could say, there is so much evidence of this. I'm shouting because someone please take my phone. Because what has he got to do with the police? Why she grabbed for it? I don't know. Because he got no authority to do that. She's trying to steal my phone as far as I'm concerned. So all the struggling I've done because I don't want her to have my phone. And you can hear me repeatedly, and even though I've got my arms up my back, I'm still saying, because I'm still polite, because please take my phone. The police would not allow that to happen. They wanted my phone for whatever reason. And they cuffed me, and they didn't just, they could have cuffed me around the front, but they didn't. They chose, again, loads and loads of footage of this, where you've got, I don't know how many coppers around me, yanking my arms up my back. I don't mean just a little bit down round behind, but I mean really up. It's so painful, you can't believe. Eventually they get the cuffs on me and they march me away. They then put me inside in the back of this van. Then Lloyd had been arrested. He came down, they put him in the van. Martin Whitehead, had been arrested. Obviously I never saw him get arrested. He was placed in a cubicle beside me. We must have sat there 20 minutes, half an hour before they decided, or they deemed to sort of tell us that we were going to be taken to Charing Cross. So we eventually arrived there. God knows how long it took, but we get there. They sort of decanted us out into the yard at the back of the police station. They put us in a cage. There's a metal cage there. So they put you in there. And, I mean, personally, I wanted to go to the toilet. No. No, I was like, So I did persuade then, I think it was a policewoman, to actually take my cuffs off and put them around the front. So, by then I've been cuffed for, I don't know, hour and a half, I don't know, but say, in a lot of pain. So eventually we get up into the custody suite one at a time. We go up there and the charging officer, the custody officer then asks the charging officer why you're there. They obviously have to give a reason. This WPC then says that I was arrested for blocking the roads and blocking access to an emergency vehicle. Neither of these, again, absolute lies. And I made a point of saying, this is being recorded, isn't it? Obviously there's a load of cameras around it in a custody suite. I said, this is being recorded, isn't it? I said, because she's lying. This is a type one utter lie. I get put in a cell. Occasionally, I get someone open a little flap up and say, are you all right? And my response once was, I won't say exactly what I said, but no, I'm not bloody all right. I want to know how long I'm going to be here. And I kept saying, it won't be long. And I think I was told that 3 or 4 times. I had absolutely no idea of time whatsoever. Couldn't have told you whether it was 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 9, no idea. And the time sort of just dragged by. And then eventually, you can go. So they let me out the back. When I came out of there, I had a T-shirt on, so I'm cold anyway. So when it's bloody cold, because it's got later. And as far as I was concerned, I was coming out to an empty road, not knowing where. I knew where I was, but I had no idea how I was going to get home. And luckily, I walked around the front, and all the others had been released before me, and they were waiting around the front. And it turned out it was about 10 o'clock. So we'd been in there a good few hours. I think all in all, we were in custody about 8 hours, which might not seem a huge amount of time. When you don't know what's going on and no one's telling you what's going on, it is bloody torture, to be honest. We thought then, we obviously left. We thought it was going to be dropped. Naively, we thought it was going to be dropped. Then we were given a date.
So to be clear, at this point, you had been charged or you hadn't?
No, we hadn't been charged. But we had not been charged. Arrested, but not charged.
But so initially the thing was about you having blocked roads, supposedly, and then later on it ended up being something different.
Yes. Even so, the policewoman clearly, again, video, you are being arrested under Section 42. But then it changed when it got there. I tried to find out, and I couldn't, but I know it doesn't exist anyway. Where was this fire engine that apparently we stopped going through? Really? There wasn't one. And if anybody could find 30 seconds of us blocking the road, I am myself in, lock me away. It never happened. It's a total, utter fabrication. From every copper that said that we blocked the road, perjured themselves that day.
Right, okay, so that's in April, and then you are charged. So tell us a bit about that process and the court process.
Okay. So we get a letter saying that we have to go back down to Charing Cross Police Station, and then we were charged. Which they shocked us all, but there we were. Then, my memory's crabby as far as dates, so it's no good asking me for dates and stuff. But we go to Westminster Magistrate, which I find really odd that Westminster Magistrate should because that's normally reserved for more high profile cases.
And just to be clear, what precisely is the charge at this point?
Harassing Sadiq Khan, causing alarm and distress. We go for a plea hearing, at Westminster where you pleaded not guilty. Again, something that doesn't quite tie up in my head. I can't quite get my head around all this. The plea hearing was seen under a Judge Turner. Now, he was a particularly, I can't figure out, a nice man. He just seemed very, very ordinary. He understood that we all have mobility problems, which we do. We all sort of struggle around. Martin, not quite so bad, but then again, Martin's had a triple heart bypass. So he's not the fittest of people, but so he appreciated that, and he knows our hearing is about good either. So he let us sit outside of the dock. Didn't have to stand up. He was good as far as I was concerned. He was, well aware of our sort of shortcomings physically, and he compensated for it. He then set a date for a trial. He looked in his diary, 27th of November. So as far as we're concerned, 27th of November, he's available. That's the date. Then we find out that he's been changed to this other judge. Now, I can't figure quite out why that went. And to be honest, I don't care what bullshit excuse they come up with, but try to get the mindset of this judge. He banned, I found that this was sent last night, he banned Zach Goldsmith, obviously, from driving. He heard the case. He banned him. But in his summary, for one of the reasons, he said that because the faster you go, the more you pollute. I can't remember the wording, I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what he says. What on earth has that got to do with someone's speeding offence? During our case, when we said there were no children being harassed in cars, when I saw a child in the video, well, in fact, the child he saw in the video was actually with one of the protesters, happens to be their child. So, he seems to be doing the CPS's job for them. He wants to sort of stick his little bit. Even when he come to that, like when we were actually found guilty, and he referred to the word carnage, and he said, and if you look in the dictionary, it means the killing of many people. Really? Well, obviously we were going there to kill carnage. I mean, seriously, what is the matter? They also made a point that I'm walking around with this carnage on the high-vis, all right, which is what I made when I first got involved. I thought, carnage, a little bit of a play on word, I'll use that. So I put stop the carnage. That's what I walk around with. Stop, not go out, kill people. He said stop the carnage. But these cretins that you have in the High Court, they don't understand that. Really, they don't understand English. The force used that day was totally unnecessary. If you look at, like Lloyd, he's a man, because they obviously have seen the footage after. You see Lloyd, when he gets arrested, he's simply filming me getting arrested. That's all he's doing. And the way he goes. Ali, the lady involved, she was dressed as a dinosaur. Okay, this again gets back to the lies that the police tell. Right. She had been sat down on the floor because she said, I want to take my suit off. So she sat down on the pavement. She'd taken the suit off. She has to take her boots off to get it off. She was in the process of putting her boots back on again when a cop puts her arm up her back and arrests her. So she's screaming and shouting because, one of them pulling her hair because she's got really, really long hair, so that's all tangled up. She's got her arm in a brace anyway because she's got arthritis. Her knee's got a knee brace and they're pulling her around. Martin, he's walking back in the road. He's got his placard down by his side, right, with wooden pole. Not up in the air even, just walking, and they grabbed him. One of these policemen, this is again, said that they arrested him because he lifted the placard up in a spear-like manner. That's the word he used, in a spear-like manner, and he was in fear of violence. The shit that they come up with was unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. Martin, so here's the man what's had a triple bypass. Marched him out. He's got his face up against the wall. He's a good friend of mine, and to watch what happened to him. He's virtually in tears. Like, he's plaster. And they've hurt his arm, his shoulder. They've got his arm up his back. He's had a triple bypass. His wife, again, more footage, his wife walked over and said, this man is not well. He's got his medication. And she said, go away or I'll arrest you as well. That's the response that she got from the police. Go away or you'll get arrested as well. My impression of that day is all the coppers were there in the first place. The way they gave evidence was to imply that they had been reactive, that they only came because we were causing trouble. Well, we were causing any trouble. They sat round the corner, they came, they know they overreacted, absolutely 100%. But to put their hands up to that and admit that, obviously they can't. So they're trying to justify what they did that day, their total and utter overreaction to us, by saying what we were doing stuff that was wrong. There is absolutely no evidence of whatsoever. And for the judge to say, we are supposed to understand that our presence may cause alarm and distress. Really? I mean, I can walk down the road wearing something someone doesn't like, and I might cause them alarm and distress. Where does this end? Where does it end with this? But I think a total abuse of power.
Okay, so finally, you've been found guilty. Tell us a bit about the conviction and then about the appeal you're going to be making.
We've been fined. I'm more than happy to put my hand up and say, yeah, I organise it. Why wouldn't I? I should be ashamed because I've got off my arse and stood up for people. And I'm not trying to be a hero. I'll stand up for myself as well. It's very much in the round with everybody. So it's money, all right? And I think my fine came to about $13.50 or something like that, and the others were about $9.50 each, something like that. The money's not a problem, as in, thank you very much to everybody who's donated, because people have donated to this, so we can pay our fines. All right. The appeal hasn't got in yet. It is going to go in. Believe me, it is going to go in. We're trying to find out whether we can get legal aid for that or not. You read so many different things. I'm told that if you get legal aid for a case, you'll automatically get it for an appeal. Well, we hope that that's the case. But we will appeal because, to say, if we don't, I think, the implications for any future demonstrations, doesn't matter what they are, they can say that you are likely to cause alarm and distress. Oh, but when I say that, obviously they will be very selective. What sort of demonstration they allow, whether it's on the left or whatever they consider to be the right, which is obviously a pretty downgraded term these days anyway. I mean, it's not a lot these days. But it's very selective policing. When people talk about two-tier policing, this highlights it for me. Absolutely. We'll punch mainly old people who are pissed off about being conned out of our money and out of our way of life. I mean, at the moment, I don't know what I'm going to do. I had to buy a compliant vehicle, which killed me. I mean, insurance, tax, all these. I haven't got a clue how I'm going to do it when it comes around again. Not a clue. I don't know. We're going to be stuck in here. I'm going to be like a lot of other, maybe hundreds of thousands of millions that just have had their lives ruined for no valid reason.
Okay, well, Nick, very good luck with your appeal, and thanks very much for coming on and telling your story.
You're more than welcome.